You know that feeling, right? When you look up at the night sky and it just hits you. This sense of wonder that there's something more going on than just a random spray of stars. Well, that feeling is exactly what we're diving into today. We're not just asking how our universe works. We're asking the bigger question. Why is it this way at all?
So let's start with a mystery that even blew Albert Einstein's mind. He was just floored by the fact that the universe makes any sense to us. I mean, think about it. Why should this wild, chaotic cosmos full of bizarre particles and insane forces follow these neat, elegant rules that our little human brains can actually figure out? It's a stunning place to start, and it really sets the stage for everything.
And Einstein was not alone in this. The amazing physicist Freeman Dyson, he felt it too, but he said it in this really haunting way. He said, "It's like the universe knew we were coming." As if all the dials of physics were tuned just right, the stage was perfectly set, just waiting for someone like us to show up and watch the show.
Now, what's really wild is that even Stephen Hawking, especially in his earlier work, he really wrestled with this. He looked at the Big Bang and said, the way this thing started is so perfectly balanced for life to exist, it is incredibly hard to just write it off as a lucky accident. It almost points, he said, to some kind of intention.
So what is going on here? You've got some of the smartest people who have ever lived, all kind of arriving at the same pretty shocking idea. Our universe isn't just some random chaotic mess. It has rules. It has structure. And in some way that we don't fully understand, it seems impossibly perfectly built for us. But, and this is a huge but, just when you start to get comfortable with that cozy idea, you slam headfirst into a massive contradiction. Because when you actually look out at the universe, it really doesn't feel like a very friendly place at all.
For one, it is just crushingly, mind-bendingly huge. We are on one tiny planet next to one average star in one galaxy of billions, in a universe with billions of galaxies. I mean, if this whole show was just for us, why make it so ridiculously, terrifyingly big? And what about all the time? The universe was just humming along in the dark for billions and billions of years before we ever showed up. All of human history is just the last tiny little tick on the cosmic clock. So what was going on during that long, lonely wait? And let's be honest, almost all of the universe wants to kill you. It's a freezing, dark, empty vacuum. It's full of explosions, radiation, and black holes. It's way less like a cozy garden made for us and way more like a cosmic death trap. So this is the great paradox. On the one hand, you have all this evidence that looks like fine-tuning, like design. On the other, the universe feels cold, dangerous, and indifferent. If there is a creator behind all this, why would they make it this way? Why would they seem so hidden? Okay, so how in the world do you make sense of those two completely opposite readings of the universe? Well, to find a way forward, we have to start looking at the problem a little differently. And for that, we're going to turn to the work of astrophysicist Hugh Ross, who says we need to stop focusing so much on how and start asking why. Now, Hugh Ross is a really interesting figure. Yes, he's an astrophysicist who spends his time looking at stars and galaxies. But he's also part philosopher, always asking those big questions about what it all means. He's really dedicated his entire life to building a bridge between the physical universe and its ultimate purpose.
Ross makes this distinction that is absolutely central to everything. He calls it mechanism versus purpose. Think of it like this. Science is incredible at explaining the mechanism of a car, how the pistons fire, how the transmission works. But science can't tell you the purpose of the car, why it was built, or where it's supposed to go. This explainer, it's all about looking for the purpose.
Ross works from this idea that there are basically two books that reveal truth. One is the book of Scripture, the written word. The other is the book of creation, the universe itself. And his core belief is that if they both have the same author, then when you read them correctly, they can't possibly contradict each other. They have to tell one consistent story. So, with this new perspective, looking for purpose, not just process, let's go back to all those things about the universe that seem so hostile and wrong. What if they're not problems that we need to explain away? What if they're actually clues? And this is exactly how so many great scientific discoveries happen. It's the weird things, the anomalies, the results that don't fit the theory. That's where the breakthroughs are hiding. Things that seemed like annoying mistakes, like the faint background hiss in a radio telescope, turned out to be the echo of the Big Bang. The weird stuff is often the important stuff. So here's the radical idea from Ross. He says the very things that seem so harsh about the universe,
its unbelievable size, its immense age, all that darkness, they aren't mistakes. They are not bugs in the system. He argues they are essential, necessary features designed with hidden purposes that are all connected to our existence, and maybe even our destiny.
And that brings us right back around full circle to the one thing that makes our place in this whole cosmic story so unique. I mean, just stop and think about it. Out of all the millions of species on this planet, only one of them builds telescopes and writes poetry about the stars. Every other creature is busy surviving, eating, reproducing. We're the only ones who are just tormented by this deep need to know what it all means.
We have this spiritual curiosity. It's not enough for us to know how the stars burn. We want to know why they're there in the first place. And in this framework, that deep-seated need to ask why isn't just some random evolutionary quirk. It's a central feature of the whole design.
So here's the crucial point. Maybe we're not supposed to get a complete, exhaustive answer for everything. Maybe we don't need that. Maybe we just need sufficient answers, just enough clues to give us a solid foundation for our lives, to feel like we have value, responsibility, and a hope for what's next. This framework suggests the universe gives us just enough of its purpose to find that ground beneath our feet. So the next time you look up at the night sky, don't just see a vast, empty space. See it as a question that we are just beginning to answer. And that is exactly where we're going to pick things up in our next explainer.